Hi, it's me again with Corel Roll Tips and Tricks, and this is part 4. I get on a kick and I can't get off, but if we look, we have tessellation of green birds, purple birds, and my representation of a swimmer with a white cap on or a pig. It didn't come out exactly like I'd planned, but I did some things like contoured some lines, and this right here looks pretty cool. Tessellized. So, because I've always wanted to do like a bird. So this is what I came up with, and this is where I saw the mouth of the bird. So we're going to just take my bird that I get off the internet. There's the one I showed you this morning with birds and a man with a big nose. But let's take this bird and just kind of see what we can do with it. And it's not a very clean bird. If I was going to do it for real, I'd clean up his wings and his head. But for the video, it's probably good enough. Let me go ahead and get rid of at least that bump. I'll go to Object Group and Ungroup so we can get the Shape tool and just delete that node. And then we need to group it back together because we're going to need, his beak isn't part of everything. I drew the beak on this bird. So let's get our 6-sided hexagon. And this is how I came up with doing this, is I'm going to put his beak right on that corner. And by using I don't need the rotation, the 4-point cross, I can get it right. Well, do you think it'd be easier than that? Kind of hard to grab just the bird. And you could zoom in later and move it around because that's pretty close. Now you see what I've got here. I've got a part of a bird, you know, on the deal. But now we can rotate this guy and get him, well, he's supposed to rotate from that corner that I had him at. I guess I never put the rotation there. Now we're going to rotate them and just kind of get that line. You got to remember, you got to use these two sides, so we really can't, we need to make the bird a little smaller. And because that line needs to fall within inside that line. So we're going to have to start over and put his beak right up the corner. And I'm going to just use 2 birds on this video and kind of help you, hopefully give you some ideas. And like I said, we can move that later. Move this, grab just the bird, move the center rotation, and then move him down. And you can see we're almost too big. But we can make that work, I think. We need to make sure we're on the corner, which we're not. So with this, I'm just going to grab it. It'd almost be easier to take the shape tool and just reshape our guy. We just need to remember that we have to, double this line. And the way I did it is I'm going to take the Smart Fill tool and I'm going to fill that in, and that in. So I've got a leak. And we know where it is, so I'm going to back up here. Evidently, that's not on the corner. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to break my bird up. You know what I'm going to do first? I'm going to make a duplicate of my bird. So I'm going to click on my bird, hit a duplicate, and nudge him over. Or pull him over. It doesn't have to nudge it right now. And now, if I will break the bird apart or ungroup it, I can move individual nodes around, and that's what I think I'm going to do. I think I'll actually make the bird a little bit shorter. As a matter of fact, let's bring his breast in a little bit more. That looks good. Now what I'm going to do is take my Smart Fill tool and that one, and that one, and I'm going to grab that one, hold down the shift, grab that one, hold down the shift, and I'm going to go to Objects and Combine. Now we need to rotate to that corner. So I'm going to make a duplicate of this guy and rotate on the corner of the hexagon, not the corner of my line. You want to make sure you're there and we're there. So I'm going to type in 240. I don't know what the dimensions are. So it'd be 120 and we're there. Now we can take we don't want to, now this is pretty important. Don't move your bird. This less than, let's make our nudge factor 10. Don't move your bird, nudge your bird. And you can see there again, my bird is not complete. So I'm going to nudge that out of the way, that out of the way, which is okay. But I'm going to grab my bird and just nudge him out of the way. Now I can nudge both these back. And I'm actually going to left click, no fill, right click, outline. And that's going to work. So now we need to maybe put in another bird. And I'm going to make sure which bird okay, this is our first bird. So I'm going to nudge it out of the way. This is going to be our second bird. So I'm going to left click, right click, get rid of those lines. I'm going to bring in our second bird and I'm going to probably pivot him. You know what? Why don't we pivot him? Why don't we do the exact same thing and pivot him from here? You know what? Put him over here, run him around. Because I had difficulty trying to figure out the other item that I was going to use. Instead of a bird, I came up with that pig or a clown. And this might be a good case to actually lock your polygon. You know, and that might just work size-wise because we're going to have to come around. So what we're going to do, we're going to minutely move that. And I'm by far no expert on this. I'm just having fun on a Central Texas hot day that can't really be outside. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fill this in, fill that in, fill that in. Hold down the shift key and select all three of those again and go to combine. That combines. And then hit the plus key on your keyboard and move your center rotation to that node. And this is going to probably be 240, and it is. Now, do not move your bird, nudge your bird. So let's left click, right click, and we got our lines. Now here, you can do anything you want. Let's just do a simple backward S. And for the good video, that's good enough. Hit the plus key. On this one, you want to, go all the way to this corner and then rotate it. And like I said earlier today, if you don't know the math or which direction you're going, you can always type in. Now, just like before, we're going to take our virtual segment delete key and delete any line that is holding the thing from going outwardly. The inwards we don't care about, but the outward ones we need to get rid of. And I think we have it. That looks pretty good. Now take your smart fill tool. Well, you know what? Be careful. Take a rectangle tool, take your smart fill tool and fill it in case it leaked. And it didn't, so we're good. Now you can pretty much delete all this. Do not mess with your birds, nudge this back. And then we can left click, right click, and we can nudge our bird back, nudge our bird back. And look at that. We're gonna have two birds. This might be pretty cool. And then if you could figure out what these could be, this could be you could make a turtle, out of that side, but we're not gonna go there. So then just take your smart fill tool and let's make this bird blue. Let's make this bird a brown, doesn't really matter. Let's take the beaks and make them both yellow kind of to stand out. We'll make the eyeballs, let's make one of them red. And on the other one, the brown one, we'll make it blue. Then you could do anything you want, and I'm going to save this because I might play with that and make a turtle out of it. So I'm going to hit the plus key and just move it over. So now I've got another copy. But let's just go with colors right now to just save you time for the video. So we need something other than, we can put a light yellow there. And on this one, we're going to put, we don't want a yellow, let's put a red. So now we got our tessellation. I would group that together, Control G, and then you just need to figure out where your best way to rotate it. Like, you know, this part needs to go into that part, so we're going to use that one for rotation. So I'm going to hit the plus key on the keyboard and get right there and rotate the new one. That's going to be 240 degrees or 120. The two reds together don't look good, but that's beside the point. And you won't really know until you get the third piece, and then plus key and go 240. Okay, we got too much solid red, but look at our birds. And then really where it starts coming into play is when you Control G and make a group of that and start putting things like right here. And like I said earlier today, it's almost easier to take a sharp point. Don't really have any sharp points, but we're going to take that middle node and have it snap right to it. So we could, the yellow could have been a turtle. So I don't like this one at all, but if we would continue filling in the turtle in the, or you know, whatever that is, that could be a ghostly figure. I might even finish that. And so this is not a good example, but we're going to Control D and make a duplicate of it. And then you just have to, you know, find a common spot that kind of will snap to. And not a terrible tessellation, but see, you got birds, brown birds and blue birds going off their tails, and some of them going off their beaks. Anyway, hope that kind of gave you some ideas. And then like the gentleman that was trying to help me, rotate your item. And, you know, if I make that a ghost in a sheet, that's his feet and his arms, I don't know what I'll make out of the next one. I don't know. Anyway, I hope that helped a little bit. Thank you for watching.